The ending of a series is always special, and with each Pokemon series we get a few episodes to wrap up the story, character plot lines, and hopefully they do it in a satisfying way, paying off all of the things that we've hoped for. There's definitely been some great Pokemon endings and also some not so great ones. So today we are going to be looking at each ending and ranking them from worst to best. So let's get into it and I hope you enjoy. So before we start, what are we counting as the ending? Well, I think the ending should consist of the final goal or task that took place, whether it's a league competition or an evil team crisis, whatever the series chose to end off on. And of course the very last episode is crucial in determining the outcome. Starting us off in last place is Aim to be a Pokemon Master. And just to make it clear, for the list I have separated Pokemon Journeys and Aim to be a Pokemon Master. Technically in the dub this was just an extended piece of Journeys, but in the original Aim to be was a separate thing. So I think it makes sense just to separate them. And by far this was the worst ending to a series that we got. It was an 11 episode miniseries to finish off the story of Ash Ketchum, and from leaked interviews to scrapped story plots, we know this whole production was a mess. They completely ruined what could have been a perfect way to send him off. Sure, there was fun moments. I absolutely loved having Brock and Misty back. It gave me so much original series nostalgia, along with old Pokemon returning like Lapras and Pidgeot. There was definitely a lot of special moments, but as a whole it was a mess. The Latias story was weird and shoehorned in, and they didn't even let Ash catch it, which felt like it was building up to that the whole time. The final episodes had its nice moments, especially hearing that song at the end in both versions, but they really didn't wrap anything up in a satisfying manner. And I haven't even mentioned how Team Rocket was treated. 25 years of them chasing down Ash to not even get a decent farewell. I think this was the worst ending, and if they were to end his journey at any other point it probably would have been better. Into number 7 we have Pokemon Black and White, and this isn't to say that this was a bad ending, it was just really anticlimactic. It had to run an extra year because of the games, so we had a whole filler arc basically, exploring the Decalore Islands, with no real goals as the League and the Evil Team stuff was all done. There was definitely some fun to be had. I especially enjoyed Alexa making an appearance and sticking around with Ash, showing off her new Kalos Pokemon. That was a really good tease, and it was a really good transition into Kalos. It felt like the natural progression for Ash. But as for Black and White itself, it wasn't too much of an ending. We got tearful goodbyes from Iris and Silent, which was nice, but beyond that there wasn't really too much to talk about. Next up we have Pokemon Journeys. The ending is such a mixed bag. On one hand we have the greatest Pokemon battle to ever exist in Ash vs Leon, our boy becoming world champion, and some of the best scenes we've ever got as all of his Pokemon cheer Pikachu on. But on the other hand we also get the absolute disaster that was Project Mew's ending, so it was really hard to put this any higher. Also you have the crazy amounts of recaps scattered into the Masters 8 tournament. Week to week it felt so slow and like we were just stopping and taking breaks. We had a weird Chloe episode during the tournament itself. It was just really messy. It should have ended on Ash's battle and just stopped after that. They tried to save it with a callback to the Lugia raid, but that didn't really do much for me. It all felt a bit forced. I suppose a saving grace is the farewell between Ash and Go, which I did really like, where they both talk about which path to take as they finally split apart. But overall it was just a bit sloppy, and similar to Aim to be a Pokemon Master, a lot of missed potential. In number 5 is X and Y. I don't think this is bad by any means. I actually think these top 5 are all really solid endings. The climax to Kalos was insane. Straight after Ash loses the league we get Lumio City just falling apart with these vines appearing everywhere, and it leads into the final battle with Team Flare and with Zygarde, where all the gym leaders and 2 champions team up to save the day. This was epic, one of the best evil team arcs we've ever got. I thought XY also did a great job in wrapping up all of our characters. Clemont, Bonnie and Serena all got their moments to shine, reflect back on the adventure and move forward. It was very poetic how it ended with a battle between Ash and Clemont, just like how it started. I suppose there is one frog in the room, and that is Greninja's departure. A lot of people were devastated after this, a pointless release, left to fend for itself in the wilderness and save Kalos. I didn't dislike it as much as others, but I can definitely understand it. They could have chosen a better way to get rid of Ash's strongest ever Pokemon up to this point. After all the training and the bond that they share, it was a bit underwhelming. I think Journeys actually did a good job with bringing Greninja back and just treating it as this legendary warrior who protects the world. It softened the ending for me a bit. Overall, I think the XY ending was pretty good. I was satisfied as a whole and didn't have too many complaints. And then next up we have Diamond and Pearl. Now some of you may think this is too high, especially how the absolute cheat Tobias knocked out our boy in the semi-finals. But for me, this series was from the start about Ash and his rivalry with Paul. It was the most focused rivalry we have ever got, and the end of their battle and rivalry in the Sinnoh League was incredible. Truly one of the best battles in Pokemon history, so for me that is enough to hold this ending up. And probably unpopular opinion, but I kinda liked the battle with Tobias. It was just cool seeing Ash use a different roster of Pokemon, bringing back his oldies and then facing down actual legendaries. Sceptile and Pikachu getting the final blows on Darkrai and Latios is just so cool. I love certain moments from that battle, and I love the fact that Ash used everything he learned on his journey up until this point. It felt true to his character and the spirit of the Pokemon anime. We also got some cool development for Brock where he finally takes the next step and decides to become a Pokemon doctor, something that has been hinted at forever. And we get one of the most perfect goodbyes from them two, as Ash's best friend finally leaves the group after so long. And I can't forget Dawn. She had a decent wrap up, nothing amazing, but I liked her goodbye with Ash as well, and her decision to carry on aiming for the top. Overall, I just thought this ending was a great way to wrap up my favourite series. Taking the bronze spot is the original series. This ending is just pure nostalgia, it's heartfelt, it carries so much weight, and everything the original series had been building up for was paid off in the Johto League. Ash finally getting his victory over Gary, taking down his childhood rival in an epic clash, and then a great battle with Harrison and his Blaziken, with mentions of Hoenn to even set up the next series. It had everything, but let's be honest, episode 273, Gotta Catch You Later, one of the best episodes in the whole series, carries this ending so much. The goodbye from Misty and Brock after so long travelling together. I get emotional even thinking about this episode. It was a perfect goodbye, a song that will bring you to tears in Misty's song, and for a lot of people it was like saying goodbye to your childhood. These three characters were on our screens for 5 years. The original series holds such a close place in many people's hearts, and I thought they did a great job in wrapping everything up and setting up the next generation, and generations even further down the line. This had it all, so it takes the number 3 spot. Funny how that's such a hard thing to say. In second place we have the Advanced Generation. Now this series gets overlooked so much. I think that's because people feel like it's just kind of an extension of the original series but with a new skin. It's still very episodic and has way too much Team Rocket shenanigans, but the ending is close to perfect for me. If Ash Ketchum left the anime at any other time, I would probably pick after the Battle Frontier. It felt like a perfect way to wrap up everyone's character. After a few rematches, Ash finally managed to defeat Pyramid King Brandon, which wasn't easy. We've even seen the likes of Paul and Reggie struggle to defeat this guy. This was a massive achievement for Ash to end off the series, but I think what I love most about the ending of the Advanced Generation is that everyone has their moment. May gets a whole episode where she's visited by Drew and Harley, where she decides her next steps. Ash gets his battle, but also he gets cheered on from people like Oak and Gary, and even gets a wholesome banner with all of his Pokemon's footprints on. It just had a feeling of finality to it, especially with Ash bringing back the Gang of 4 to take on Brandon. It felt like it was one last battle to end things off. We even get some hints towards Brock becoming a doctor, which was addressed again at the end of Diamond and Pearl. So it just had character moments and growth for everyone. It felt like a complete story. We got a great contest battle between Ash and May where they split the ribbon. We return home to Pallet and get Sinnoh teased and another clash with Gary. It literally just didn't miss. The final stretch of AG is some of the funnest and easiest to watch episodes in the whole series, and that's why it comes in at number 2. And finally, in number 1, the best ending to a series is Sun and Moon. I don't think it could have been any other series. Sun and Moon paid off everything that was set up throughout the series. The climax of Sun and Moon was of course the league, where our boy finally, after years of failing, managed to win a regional league. He takes down his rival Gladion, and then we even get an immense 6-on-6 against Kukui, a fitting end to their relationship, with Ash taking on his father figure from Alola, the man that he lived with and created such a close bond with. Alola was a family, all the characters had these close bonds, everyone knew each other in the region, and the climax gave everyone this celebration. It felt like everyone came together to celebrate Ash's victory, the fans, the characters in the stadium. It was just one of them special moments. Sun and Moon was very slice of life in general, but it just felt like the most tightly written. Everything came together at the end. How close Ash and his friends had become, so when they all had to say goodbye, it really hit hard. Seeing everyone from the Alola school go on separate paths and plan their futures, it was like graduation from school, and it was just so wholesome. I really think this was the perfect ending to a series in Pokemon, so that's why it comes in at number 1. Let me know your thoughts. What was your favourite ending to a Pokemon series? Give me your ranking in the comments below. I'd really love to hear some. But that's it for now. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.